Hello, good people of YouTube, Mountbatten here, and I'm here to tell you today that the Italian battleships are actually quite good. Despite what you might have heard from their testing phases and the changes that occurred during testing, they are quite good. And I know a lot of people are turned off by the longer reload on some of the higher tier battleships. I can tell you that there's a good reason for that. You know, when you have SAP and you can easily slap cruisers, heavy and light cruisers, for 15k every salvo with SAP. Yeah, that's why it has a 37 second reload time. You know, it's quite powerful. It's a quite powerful ammunition type. Anybody who played Season 9 of Clan Wars, anybody who's fought against a Venezia should know just how powerful SAP is, or any of the Italian cruisers. I mean, Season 9 of Clan Battles was dominated by Venezia because it could slap cruisers and battleships for like 14k, 15k, sometimes even 20k if all the shells connected. A salvo. Yeah, that's how good SAP is. Now, upscale that to 15-inch guns, and yeah, it's certainly a very strong tool in the Italian toolkit. That's not all you get to with the higher tier ships. I'm talking mostly about the higher tier ships too, because they're the ones I've played the most. I do have the rest of the early access ships in my port, but I've been playing a lot of Lepanto and Veneto because of how higher tier is right now. Higher tier right now is, of course, as anybody who's played higher tier knows, very toxic, very snipey, very sit back and just try to snipe the enemy team to death, and very stagnant. And I've been playing these ships to see how they will fare in those situations, because they are very much close-in brawlers. I mean, they're set up like that entirely, especially when you get to the Lepanto with the armor scheme that it has there. It's very similar to the Germans, although not as good as the Germans because of the some of the plating on the Citadel armor, but overall the armor scheme is very, very, very good for a brawling thing. It has an icebreaker bow too, and a healthy amount of hit points, and 4 guns per turret, and many secondary guns, but not necessarily good secondary guns. But anyway, so they're definitely close-in ships. They don't have a lot of range. They don't have the best dispersion ever. They have pretty decent concealment ranges for their tier, but applying it to their actual range, which if the Lepanto, you'd go for the reload module, which I do recommend over the range module, you'll have an 18.1 kilometer range and 13.8 kilometer 13.4 kilometer concealment range, which 13.4 kilometers of concealment is pretty good, actually. It's just that you only got a little over 4 kilometers of range to deal with if you're running Deadeye on Lepanto, which I do recommend because it does rein in that dispersion at longer ranges. Doesn't make it fantastic or anything, just kind of makes it normal battleship dispersion, very much like the Roma right now. And again, I mentioned this in both the Lepanto and the Veneto reviews. If you've played Roma right now with Deadeye, Roma's a really good battleship right now. So just throw SAP on top of that, so the ability to chunk cruisers and the superstructure and lighter armored portion of battleships for 14 to 15k a salvo, almost guaranteed, as long as most of your shells hit. That's what the Italian battleships are like. And they still have that very good Italian AP on top of that, which will absolutely smack the crap out of any battleship or cruiser that shows your broadside. Well, you might overpin a couple of the cruisers, but still, if you know where to aim and can aim for the juicy parts, you'll hit. Now, again, the dispersion, if you're not running Deadeye, isn't that fantastic. I won't try to defend that, but again, that's to encourage you to push in and get closer. That's the other thing, too, I find kind of funny. Everyone's been shouting about Deadeye, myself included, and has been saying, you know, we need a way to counter this, we need something else to encourage people to push in and get in close, and here you have it. The Italian battleships. It's not a fun time pushing in, but they are some of the best pushers right now. Because when you get to tier 8 and above, you get the smoke screen, the exhaust smoke screen, which means the smoke screen moves with you. And when you're pushing, having the ability to just go undetected at your own whim and not have to ask a destroyer for it and have that smoke screen follow you too, that is great, because guess what you can do if something isn't going according to plan and you need to dip out? Pop smoke and you can turn and run. Now, of course, this is without any radar ships nearby, which you do need to be mindful of in the first place regardless. But you can just dip out when you don't feel like dealing with the situation and choose to go undetected. It's also great because when you're being sniped at across the map, like so much happens nowadays, you can just pop that and get to cover, or pop that, break line of sight, and I promise you that guy sitting across the map 24 kilometers away from you, he's going to lose interest real fast. It is amazing how long the attention span of the average sniping battleship is, because they're so focused on just dealing damage and getting those big hits from their guns. They don't have time to sit there and wait for your smoke screen to run out. They'll move on to the next target, so you can use that to disengage at your whim, and that's great too. Now, a lot of the negativity toward the Italian battleships, I can promise you this right now, it's from people that just saw what was changing in the development cycle of the Italian battleships. They saw those reload times go up, and they just tuned it out and said, nope, they're going to be crap. Because the same people, I can promise you this, said the same thing about the American battleships. The split, at least. And I can tell you, the Vermont and the Minnesota and the Kansas, they are some heavy hitters. Vermont has 12 18-inch guns. Currently, right now, it's one of the best ships in the game because of Deadeye. But even before Deadeye was a thing, you can go back and watch my my review of the Vermont and the videos I'm putting out around that time. Vermont was just absolutely slapping the living crap out of just anything that got to within its main battery range and that was silly enough to go broadside onto it. Same with Minnesota. Minnesota doesn't have 18-inch guns. She has 16-inch guns. Those ships were very nice beforehand, too. Before Deadeye. So, yeah, it's just the people that saw how they were going, and they're all over the place now. You can go look in the comment section, probably in the comment section of this video, too, because they're probably already typing before I'm even done talking about how crap the Italians are. Reddit, forums, other YouTube videos. Am I saying that the Italian battleships are some godsend that are here to save the game, and if you play them, you'll get top of the team every time? No. I'm just saying they're quite good, and they're quite fun, too. This is one of the funnest tech line ships that we've had in a long time. It's a battleship with its own smoke screen. Like, what's not to like about that right there? Now, of course, they have their problems. I do think some things could be improved and should be improved on the Italian battleships. First off, the SAP should definitely do more damage against destroyers, because these ships were billed as having good secondaries when they came out. That didn't make it to the final cut. The secondaries right now, you got a lot of them, especially on the Lepanto, but most of them can't even pin above 15 millimeters of armor. There's a situation where I was chasing, well, not really chasing, but there was a Benham in front of me, and he had 90 health left. I hit him with the secondaries about 10 times, but they were all the 90 millimeter secondaries. Dude kept on living. Like, that shouldn't happen. Or if that's how the secondaries are, the SAP should definitely do more damage to DDs than just 10% of their maximum damage. And like I've said before, I understand they can't give it the full pin that they tested because it's SAP. It would utterly wreck a DD. One shell would probably nuke a DD out of the game, being that, he's going to lose so much health, he's not going to be able to do much, let alone the 12 that the Lepanto can throw at a DD at a time. So I understand that. So I think somewhere around, like I've mentioned yesterday, 15-20% would be a bit better, and encourage pushing even more, because you can at least do something against destroyers now. And understanding not letting them just one-shot them every chance they get, but still. That, or improve the secondaries, maybe improve the accuracy, give them the old accuracy bat, because the 152s are kind of nice. They can pin 25 millimeters, which is plenty enough for DD repellent, but you only get 3 set of those per side, so yeah. But other than those couple of things, it's a really solid tech line so far. Now, I know the lower tier battleships, I've tried some of those. The SAP isn't as good because down there, most of the battleships are still that dreadnought style of battleships. They got really thick armor plating over most of their ship. So, the SAP can't really come into its own, but the AP's still good. I mean, that Italian AP just, it's a freaking fist, y'all. I mean, if you played Roma, if you played the Cesare, you know what I'm talking about. High velocity, just, man, that'll wreck your day if you slip up, and they catch a broadside onto it. But the higher tier ones playing in what is the most toxic tiers right now, they're hanging in there. The Lepanto, I think I've got like 115, 120,000 average damage in it in random so far. After the first like 6 games I had, and I had like 130,000 damage. I think it's gone down a little bit because I didn't do too well last night. Because, whoo, man, the teams we got last night, y'all, whoo, that was ow. That was pain. That was pure pain. And I've also tried her in ranked a bit to some pretty good success. You know, being able to remove the cruisers from the enemy team in about 2 or 3 salvos is a pretty nice skill to bring to ranked with that sap and with the Lepanto at least. And again, the Christopher Colombo is just supposed to be the Lepanto but bigger. And if that's what it is, then we're going to have a lot of fun with that bad boy when she gets released. You know, after this event is over with. But yeah, the Italian battleships, they're a solid line. They're not, again, like the godsend ships. You know, they're not going to get you the top of the leaderboard every time. You still got to work with them. You still got to have good situational awareness, know when to push, when to pull back, play it smart. You got the fuel smoke, make sure you use it to your advantage. So don't listen too much to the naysayers. Again, there are some good criticism of them, like the accuracy of the main battery guns isn't all that great. The secondaries aren't that great. The damage versus DD is kind of lacking right now. Those are very true criticisms, and the range isn't that great either. But for what they're meant to do, they're good at it. And if you can get them to do that, if you play a lot of Germans, you know how to push in right now. Well, if you continue to play the Germans, you kind of know what that experience is like, and you know how to deal with it. So if you're good with that, you should have a good time with the Italians. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. We're on our way now to 25,000 subs, just past 22,700 not that long ago. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Saturday. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.